Deputy Clare Daly.
Thanks, Ceann Comhairle. Taoiseach, I wonder would you agree that it is one of the great ironies of the present age that we have older citizens being required to work longer simply to make ends meet, precisely because half the population don't have any pension provisions at all, and then of course the other half who thought they were the lucky ones find out that they're not the lucky ones at all, having paid in tens of thousands to schemes that will be worth nothing. Meanwhile, on the other side of the equation, we have young people across Europe lying idle, a wasted generation, unemployed while much necessary work needs to be done. And you'd have to say, what an absolute indictment of neoliberal capitalism, that we have 50% youth unemployment in a number of countries in Europe, an average of 25%, and of course here in Ireland, 1 out of every 3 young people unemployed. We all know that really should be 1 out of every 2 if the rest of them hadn't left the country, been driven out, leaving their families and communities without them. Now, by anybody's reckoning, this is a crisis and an emergency. And the question really is, where is the emergency response? Last week, yourself and your colleagues lauded your £6 billion initiative to tackle youth unemployment. And you'd have to ask, will this be your European legacy? Because we were really wondering, was it some escapade into black humour? I mean, €6 billion over 7 years for over 7 million unemployed young people. It's not even €1,000 apiece. It's not even €150 apiece per year. Wouldn't even get you 1 day on a FOSS course. Everybody knows we've bankers who can pull greater amounts than that out of lower parts of their anatomy in one go. And really, I suppose the question is, if that wasn't insulting enough, on top of that, you decided to allocate an amount of 10 times that much into the banks in the same gesture, if you like, officially saying that the banks are 10 times more important than Europe's young people. Not only that, but the banks have already received €1,000 billion at nominal interest rates from the ECB. And my question really is, imagine what this money could have done if it was invested in a programme of necessary public works, improving the physical and social infrastructure across Europe. Instead of schemes like water meters and bullying homeowners, you could repair the water system in this country. My question is, why are you continuing to promote policies that are condemning this generation of young people as a lost generation? Are you going to assure us that you won't listen to the lunacy of the ESRI, that you'll abandon austerity, because despite everything you've said, it clearly isn't working?
Taoiseach.
Well, it's a good rant in 2 minutes. You did a fine analysis there of your version of neoliberal capitalism. Do you think that anybody over here doesn't recognise the scale of the challenge that applies in Europe, where 26 million people are unemployed? Have you not heard me say on many occasions, no leader in Europe could be proud of this situation? And that's why the presidency conducted by Ireland over the last 6 months did shove these major files across the line into reality. The fact of the matter is, Deputy Daly, that €960 billion is put up over the next 7 years by European taxpayers. Yes, it's €6 to $8 billion actually for youth employment here. Yes, it is front-loaded to the first 2 years. Yes, there is agreement on flexibility to look at a review of the economic circumstances that will apply from 2016-2017. Yes, it's a fact of life that it's 60% unemployment among young people in Spain, and in Greece, 57% in Spain, with various figures in other locations. This is the big challenge. And next week, I'm calling a special meeting of the Cabinet dealing with specific issues about job creation. Because if we don't deal with that challenge, then we can't continue on the path that we are to meeting our targets of having our deficit below 3% by 2015. And I've read the ESRI report, or most of it. The fact of the matter is that it does endorse the government's programme here, that it does say that you must continue to achieve your targets, to have an exit from this bailout programme, to bring about growth and investment, to create jobs and to meet our targets by 2015. And it's to get that balance right that is the challenge for government here. I was in Waterford on Monday with the Minister for Social Protection, Minister for Jobs and the Taoiseach, dealing with one small element of initiative, because government have listened to employers, and they said that the tax credit system that was there for taking on people from the unemployed register was too cumbersome, too filled with red tape, so we abandoned it. And those who now take on people on the live register, been out of work for 12 months, will get a direct cash injection of 7,500. For 2 years, a direct cash injection of 10,000, which affects to their benefit their cash flow and reduces the live register. But it also means, Deputy Daly, that those people who are on the live register are seen as a resource, not just as a list of people who draw other taxpayers' money as social welfare benefits. And it's an expression of their motivation. And if you want to prove the point, go down and speak to the directors in HTEC, where 60% of their employees, of 400 now, came off the live register because it's a resource of people with competence, ambition, motivation and experience. Of course, the fact of the matter is that many countries in Europe are in difficulties. That's why we were able to broker the negotiations with the United States. That's why we brokered the agreement which has now started in terms of negotiations with Japan. That's why we hope to conclude the trade negotiations with Canada. That's why the decisions taken at European Council level and at the presidency level during the Irish presidency have greatly enhanced the opportunity to deal with this, including the very complex and technical areas of progress made under the chairmanship of the Minister for Finance in respect of banking. We all know these things. We all know these things. And this is not going to be sorted out in one day. But we are heading in the right direction and continue to make real progress.
Sorry, it's not your turn. Would you please allow Deputy Daly's time, please, and respect her right? We don't want to listen to your mumbling. Deputy Daly, thank you.
Thanks, Count Corla.
Now, would you mind staying quiet, please, for the Deputy, and show some respect to this House?
I suppose the problem you have, Taoiseach, is one that prevails across your government, is that there's an enormous disconnect between your words and the reality on the ground. And that is the proof that people are experiencing, because the reality on the ground is that there are less people in employment now than there were when your government came to power. You have told us consistently, and you've reiterated it here today, that your policies would turn the economy around, that they would result in investment, they would result in growth in jobs. You have been proven wrong in that, not in words, but in the reality of the Irish economy going back into recession. And your determination to follow the path of austerity being outlined by the ERSI will only condemn more young people to further unemployment, because that is not a priority for the ESRI. My question was, if you accept this as an emergency, which you say that you do, where is your emergency response in this situation?